And you got into Black Mirror, correct?
Black Mirror is awesome.
Yeah, that's another one I need to get into.
You haven't watched any of those?
No, and I tried to, and it's just sometimes life is so busy, but like I have to binge watch it to get into it.
Don't binge watch Black Mirror.
No,
it's bad for your mental health.
You don't even have to, because they're all different.
Yeah, they're not sequential.
Okay, so, you could really watch them in whatever order. I would watch them in the order they come out, because it does take place in its own little like world, and like you learn a little bit more about that world as the episodes come out. So like if you went and watched something in like season 4, they might be referencing something from like season 1 that you don't understand. Okay. So you get more out of it by actually watching it the way you're supposed to.
I always tell people to start with episode 3. Episode 1 and 2, they're like, are they UK? They're like.
The whole
that's
first
what I
season
realized
was
it was
British.
Yeah, it's British. So the first 2 episodes are like, what the.
The first one's really fun.
It's just really bad. Not bad as in horrible,
just
quality.
Crazy.
Just crazy story.
Yeah.
So I start with 3. I ran all the way through them and then went back and watched 1 and 2.
Okay, that's what I'll do then.
They're a little more palatable, I guess, that you could say.
Yeah. The whole like shared world thing doesn't really come in until like the later seasons, but yeah,
we're so close to that stuff and that story.
Oh, I know.
And all right, so
you guys could probably talk about this a lot. This is something you guys can agree on.
I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite episodes. I'll give you a little bit of a plot twist.
I wonder if it's mine.
So this girl, they're young, married. Her husband dies in a car wreck.
Okay, I know this.
She's lonely, depressed, grieving like a normal person would, and she finds this app that can talk to her from her husband's perspective. So what this app does is it goes into your social media and then puts together algorithms and would respond the way that you would respond.
Okay.
Because it understands your nature by your social media interactions. So she's on her computer and conversating with her dead husband, basically, but it's algorithms.
Holy shit.
Right? So she's basically re-falling in love with her husband that's not there anymore. The app contacts her and says, there's another level to this game. And that comes across her screen. And then the next scene that you notice, there's a box that comes through the door. A huge crate. She opens the crate and there's her husband. Like in plastic form. He looks just like a human.
But it was like a dummy, pretty much.
Right. He's a cyborg.
Okay.
Yeah. So now, like a living, one of those sex dolls almost.
Yeah. Like a sex doll. So now the algorithms are running through him in like a robot form.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we're so close to that. Like the technology, that's what really gets you about that show, is it's not so far out. Like it's 5-10 years from now. Like these technologies could be right there.
Mm.
And that's scary because like like you said, it could happen. So people are that like I almost feel like the human body needs like that grieving and all that like to really understand itself completely, and like you don't have to deal with that anymore. If like somebody died, say your mother died, and you're like, I miss my mother, and they can send you your mother, like it's just as good as the old thing. It's just fucking weird to me.
My favorite episode actually won an Emmy, which I was really happy about, that's the reason I actually remember the name of the episode, but it's called San Junipero. Can't remember. I think it was like season 3 or whatever.
It's my daughter's favorite episode.
Is it? All right, so he knows what I'm talking about. I love this one so much. Like, I wish this shit was real because I want to do it. But essentially, people can upload their consciousness into like a hard drive and go in this digital world and be in whatever time period they want. And they could be as old as they want. So like, I could be like a 90-year-old dude, go back to the 90s and live as myself, and then like late teens as the 90s and shit. Or in the 90s and shit. And everyone in this world is that. Like, you're living in this time period. Or you could go to the 80s. You can go to the 70s, whatever. And essentially, when you die, you can choose to just upload your consciousness in there and just live there, essentially, in heaven.
Yeah.
Like, to the point where, like, it changed my perspective on the song, Heaven is a Place on Earth. Like, because that song is in there. And that's how the whole episode ends, is with that song. And that is essentially the concept of the whole episode. Is that you can either die or do whatever happens after you actually die, or you can go to this own private heaven you want to, or you can do it while you're alive. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's what they do. They actually they're older and they test out these different spots. But like you were saying with the grandma, so you're eliminating the grieving process, which is human. My fear is those whatever we create becomes conscious, and then we have consciousness that's trapped. That's why I would never upload my consciousness into something.
Yeah.
Because what if you, no matter how much you love this heaven and how specific it is created, you're going to grow tired of it.
Yeah.
I think it's important to have death and rebirth, and if you trap consciousness into something, I think that might be the end game. You know?
Yeah. No, see, I don't know if I would want to like let my body die and live on throughout that, but I would definitely like to experience that, like in like now at this age or whatever, you know. But I think I would still choose to die and see what, because even with that not existing now, I still wonder what happens when you die and shit. Like eventually, I'm gonna choose to die. Yeah. I think.
I don't know if it's non-existent though. That's the thing. Like, how much do they know that they're not telling us?
That's the risk, right? Yeah.
Like one day I came over and you thought we were in the Matrix or something. Remember that? You're like, I'm starting to think we're in the Matrix.
Dude, every day I think we're in a simulation. Some things work out way too conveniently or just seem to sync right up.
Well, how funny. Weird. How funny is shit. Like there's little pokes of comedy. That shouldn't be comedy.
Yeah.
Like ain't that Wiener guy sending dick pics? Like there's
his name is Wiener, and he's known for sending dick pics.
Yeah, and Trump being the president, and then it tied into The Simpsons, and
that's true.
From Back to the Future. All this shit is like it's like a little wink.
Yeah. Have you actually heard that Baron von Trump conspiracy or whatever? There was a book written like a long ass time ago, and it basically describes the rise of Donald Trump, except for the whole reason it's happening is because he time traveled. Like, it's ridiculous, though, how similar the story is.
It's an old book, then, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's... I think it's like the something of Baron von Trump or some shit. Just look up Baron von Trump or Trump conspiracy, and you'll look at it. Dude, it's crazy just how similar it is.
All right,
ridiculous.
So we know we're going to be able to create virtual reality that's indistinguishable from reality. That's coming. You're going to put a headset on and not even know that you have a headset on.
Yeah.
Who's to say that that's not already happening?
That's what I think about also.
Oh, they say that.
Like, did I sit down 10 years ago and I'm living this life, and then eventually they're going to take it off and they're like, okay, now figure it out. I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
You might not ever take it off.
Yeah.
Like the name of the game might be to create the next version of consciousness. And then you know, humans as we know them fade away, and then we created the next version.
Shit.
It hasn't always been. Humans haven't always been like we are today.
Right.
I mean, we know that. We know enough of that, and there's a lot we don't know about the past. But this could happen over and over and over again, like a silkworm. Like a silkworm will blindly consume a leaf until it throws up, create a cocoon, and now it's a butterfly. Mm. Does the silkworm know what it's doing? Like, we're just kind of blindly chasing technology.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
For all we know, we're doing it right now. Like, when we die, we wake up and we're like, oh, yeah, I forgot.
Of course.
You know? Like,
it's crazy.
It's too trippy, dude. It's like, is this really... Like, I don't think about it on a normal basis, but sometimes I do. Like, when the day he was like... He was all about it. He's like, dude, we live in a simulation. And I'm like,
well, the thing
and I started thinking about like, maybe we fucking do.
It's Elon Musk. Elon Musk said it on Joe Rogan. He was like, I'm starting to think more and more every day that we live in a simulation. I was like, if Elon Musk thinks that, there's got to be something to it, right? But maybe not.
Well, there's the astrophysicist. I can't remember the guy's name, but he said the entire universe is binary. It's a code of ones and zeros. It's just like computer code. I think about it a lot. Probably more than I should, but I spend a lot of time by myself. But I think about a lot of that shit.
That was like one of the I definitely wanted to talk MMA on this because that's kind of goes hand in hand with you. But like I knew, like I want to know you went to India. You guys both went to India, correct?
Just me. She didn't go with me.
She didn't go.
No.
What did that? Obviously that changed your life and the way you think, right?
Yeah. The events leading up to India. The events leading up to India gave me the courage to go to India. And then when I was in India, I realized how much the power of culture and environment. Because I spent most of the time... All right, so here's the backstory of India. Because everyone's like, why the hell did you go to Hyderabad? I had a coworker who was from Hyderabad. He was Muslim. Him and I talked about a lot of conspiracies, religion, the empire that is America, just getting a Muslim's perspective of it. He says, my brother's getting married, and it's going to be a traditional Muslim wedding. You can come, pay for your plane ticket, you stay at my house. And I was like, oh, hell yes, man. I jumped on that. I go to India. All the older people my age they're busy with the wedding. So I spent most of my time with like 16 to 19-year-old, and this is a super conservative Muslim neighborhood. Like all face coverings. No, you don't talk to any of the women. And so I got to talking to these kids, and they were just like American kids, except for they were Muslims. All of their belief systems was because of where they were from, their neighborhood. So I started to question my thoughts, my beliefs. We're a Christian nation. We believe, we're proud flag flying people and all that shit. All of that comes down to just your culture, where you're from. Mm-hmm. So that led me into questioning my narratives, questioning what it was that I believe. And then I've studied religion for probably like 7 years. I didn't grow up in the church, but I went to church as a teenager to get out of my house. So I always knew there's more to the package than what they were telling you at church. Like it was almost like a kindergarten version of Christianity. No offense to anybody, but that's how.
No.
It's the best way for me to say.
Yeah, I am. I'm like lost. I don't know what there is, if there is. I'm one of those people that I need to know answers to but I know I'll probably never find what really happens until the day you die.
Well, it's like what he said. I think when you die, you just chuckle and say, "Of course." I think that happens over and over and over again.
Yeah.
What I think this is the creator, whatever that is. Not everyone, but most people are going to see a gray bearded man in the sky when you say creator. I don't think it's anything like that. The human mind can't conceive of God. But if the three of us created a car, we built this car, the closest we're going to get to understanding what it's like to be that car is to drive it. Mm-hmm. But if you were omnipresent, you could actually become that car. How can you feel what it's like to be something that you created? Consciousness. So the creator is consciousness living through all of us.
Yeah, and then it's like the whole like we are all sparks of God, essentially. Like people say,
spark of divinity.
Buddhists,
yeah, everyone has a spark of the divine.
We all make our way, but we're basically just gathering information. God is living vicariously through all of us.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why Jesus can say, "I'm the Son of God," just like all of you are.
And he did say that.
Yeah.
I've read the New Testament. I've read all the Gnostic Gospels. He constantly said that. He never said that I am the only Son of God.
No.
I have this actually, Psalms 82:6 tattooed on me.
Uh-huh.
The Pharisees come to him and they say they're going to stone him. He said, "Why are you going to stone me? For which of my good works are you going to stone me?" And they said, "For the good works, we're not going to stone you, but for blasphemy, because you said you're the Son of God." And he says, "Your book says that we are all sons of the Most High." And that's Psalms 82:6. We're all sons of God. That's why the reason he was crucified is because he told people that. And then the Romans switched the message. They said, they put him up on a pedestal. Jesus is the only Son of God. You're nothing. Let's get back to business.
Jeez. I think it's
crazy how it all works.
I tried to watch, you can only...
Well, a lot of people aren't comfortable going into that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Too. Because when it comes to it, I'm stupid when it comes to all that stuff.
Well, when it comes down to it, I could talk about all different aspects of it because, I just don't know. Like, it's all just as possible as the other.
Exactly.
Just like aliens created us all. That's just as crazy as God creating us all. You know what I mean? If not the same thing.
Well, you grew up in a very Christian house, right?
Yeah. I went to church every Sunday and Wednesday all the way up until I didn't have to anymore.
Or you didn't have doors in the house?
Well, we had doors in the bathroom, but we had curtains. We had little part of the podcast about this too. Mark grew up with outdoors.
Yeah, it wasn't always on the bathroom though.
No. There was at one point there was also a curtain on the bathroom.
It was very awkward taking a shit in your house.
My brother-in-law coming to stay for a week that there was we need to put a bathroom in because he was very self-conscious about it.
Why was the mirrors what was the curtains? No masturbation?
Pretty much, or just wait till somebody left, or very.
What does that sound behind the curtain, Mark?
Just looking around constantly. That's what it was. But
the church is what I've seen. Like I've talked through barbering. I'll have these conversations with young people. And there's people that go to church, involved in the church, that agree wholeheartedly with what I say, what I think that I've found or whatever. This is not, and these aren't any huge revelations. If you look, all religions say the same thing across the board. They just can't. They don't share notes. Like, oh, our guy said that. Our guy said that too.
Yeah.
They always have to be the right guy. But
That drives me crazy about religion.
You compare them; they're all saying the same thing.
Exactly. They're. Some of them are saying the exact same thing, like telling the exact same story.
Same story, yeah.
That's what I always, like I said, I'm really uneducated when it comes to all this. I like listening more than I like to actually read on stuff. So like this is all very fascinating. But I noticed that every religion has something to do with the sky. And I was talking to my mom about it, and I was like, there has to be something to that. They're always talking about something coming from the sky, something, and I'm like, what is that? So I just feel like you said, like they all kind of are very similar, but they won't admit that they're similar with each other.
And you said coming from the sky. I just listened to American Cosmic, the Audible book, and what that book goes over is comparing Christian religious mystical experiences to, say, alien abductions. And they're very similar experiences except for the culture and the wording, how you describe it. Like if you say you're a UFO guy, you're into aliens, you watch all the alien shows, and you have a mystical experience, you're gonna say, "My God, dude, there's aliens here last night." Like, you wouldn't believe it. Yeah. And then if you're 65 and you grew up in the Catholic Church, you're gonna say that you saw Jesus.
Yep.
God came and talked to me. Yeah.
Yeah. My friends in India would say that Allah came here, or Muhammad. They saw Muhammad.
Yeah. Well, there's Indian stories where they don't even hide that it was some flying thing in the sky. Like they have a word for it called vimanas, and which is basically the word vimana means a flying chariot in the sky, which at a time would not exist in in that. You know what I mean? Like there's
a said story chariot because they didn't have salt.
Yeah,
there's no saucer.
And essentially because chariots had wheels and it was like shaped like a wheel or something. I don't know. All I know is that they actually have tales that are in their religion of giant battles in the sky between the gods and shit. Which is crazy. Right. It's so crazy. They have artwork depicting it. Not only that, but Indian artwork is fucking incredible. Yeah, it is. Some of the best religious artwork you will ever see.
It's ahead of its time.
For sure.
Or it's not.
I mean, it was so seeing a detailed blue elephant man is way back then is pretty insane. As weird as that sounds.
And that's exactly what the Hindus believe.
Yeah. Like the Baba Ganoush or whatever.
Yeah, so their gods have all these arms and heads.
The Ganesh, that's what it was.
Yeah, Ganesh.
Baba Ganoush is like a term somebody said on
it's a Sopranos term, I think.
It has all these heads and arms, so it can't, the left arm doesn't know what the right arm is doing. God is all of us, it's all tentacles. God is everything, the trees, the grass, whatever. That's what the Hindus believe. There's one source energy and that feeds the rest of us.
Now I'm going to have to YouTube all this stuff. I'm sorry, this is what I'm doing tonight. I know what I'm doing
Dude, and I bet you could YouTube every single bit of it.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot on there. But even the Christian doctrine, the Old Testament talks about the sons of man came and mated with the women. That's why God flooded the earth, because the sons of man came down and mated with women. So there was gods that came out of the sky, slept with women, and God's like, no, that's not
what we're doing.
Yeah.
And the Great Flood the story is consistent across cultures.
Oh yeah.
Was the whole earth flooded? Hell no, but there was a huge problem. And science says that's when the glaciers, the ice age ended.
Ice age, okay.
Melted off and water levels rose.
So do you think the earth is as old as it is? Or because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't think the earth is, they think it's like 5,000 years old.
Yeah, new earthers. No, it's old. It's older than, I think it's probably older than science thinks it is. Oh. And that's another thing is you ever watch One Strange Rock on Netflix? Mm-mm. That's a great show, people.
All right. I've heard about it, but
but it's scientific. It goes into science about how the earth was created. And it almost sounds like they're reading from Genesis. Because they'll say that in the beginning, Earth was just carbon, and then there was water on the Earth, and then eventually bacteria in the water came crawling out. We all started as I don't remember the name of it, but basically water cells, and then Genesis says in the beginning it was dark, and the consciousness moved across the water. It's like
saying the same thing, in different words.
Yep.
It's like science and spirituality pretty much just go hand in hand. You just got to connect the dots somehow,
yeah.
or the science hasn't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's science now that backs up consciousness that people would have never believed 30 years ago.
Right.
When like gurus and shit were talking about it.
Yeah, science is starting to confirm what the mystics have been saying forever, which is fascinating.
What a time to be alive, man.
It is the greatest time.
What's 50 years from now going to look like, though? You know?
Absolutely terrible. No, it's gonna be that. We're going downhill. We're devolving.
It's gonna get worse.
No, I don't know.
I think we get better. I do
too.
No, it's definitely gonna get better.
I have a few theories. I think we're headed back to Eden. We're heading back to the garden. But sometimes I think that we might see a species split. Like we might see humanity go two different directions.
Oh, so you're saying like almost like a new stage of evolution?
Yeah, well, like and where I live, there's Amish. They've never adopted electricity, motor cars, or anything. So there's going to come a time when we're already relying on our artificial intelligence, our technology. There's going to come a time when the species is going to have to really commit to it, and I don't think that there's going to be a lot of people that won't sign on.
Yeah. There's going to be basically human-machine hybrid people. Like they're going to start like integrating the technology into their biology.
I think we're super close to that already.
Yeah, that's already happening. There's
like,
people doing it at home themselves.
15 years from now, are we even going to have phones? Yeah. Are we just going to go?
Just gonna have chips.
I know what I want to say to this guy, so
that's why you need to watch Black Mirror, man.
Yeah.
All right.
That's why you need to watch Black Mirror.
All right. Yeah. Like instead of like me waiting around to hear from Mark about what time we doing this, I can just be like, oh, he wants to do 4:00. Okay.
You're not gonna want to be in my head after a while, though, man.
So when you said you think when we die, you just say, of course.
I think that's a good possibility. Yeah.
So who's to say we create this technology and you're communicating with each other telepathically, and once you do it, you realize that we have that potential in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because there's already people that can remote view, or you get a gut feeling when someone. You ever get a gut feeling or think of somebody and there they are? They text or
they call. Yeah. Yep. Or you run into them the next day.
So we might be creating a better version of human that we already were at one time. So I just think
I actually just had an experience similar to it today happened.
This is a good 420 conversation.
It really is.
I have my mom's cousin. I haven't talked to her in probably 10 years or so. And my mom just brought her up the last time I saw my mom. And today at Walmart, I ran into her. And I was like, that's just, to me, that's weird. People call it a coincidence or whatever. But, something could have, like my mom's brain could have worked and been like, you're going to see her. Let me remind you who she is. And then I saw her today. And I was like, kind of fucked up. I don't know.
It's either...
You manifested it.
We either manifest it or we sense it. One of the two. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's either we created it or it was telling us that it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to...
One of the two.
And now that we're talking about this, it's just like kind of like at the time when I saw her, I was just like, oh, hi, how you doing? But I was like, it's kind of weird now that we're like kind of talking about it and it happened. I haven't...
Yeah, no. That happens in all kinds of ways for me. Like I'll just think about like a movie or something recently, and then it just happens to come on Netflix this month or something, or like just weird little things like that, even in the slightest ways, like strange things.
I gotta see Black Mirror now.
Or like
got me hooked.
I will be having a conversation with somebody while a podcast is playing in the background, and I'll say like a specific word, and then they will say that specific word right after that.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That does happen sometimes, yeah.
See, that's a universal wink, I think.
It's just like, we're here. It's all kind of, there's something here. Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that don't listen to any of that. They don't listen to gut feelings. They're always negative talk. Like you going to the UFC, did you always believe, or did you pick up momentum as you went on? Like
from the time I was 17, I told my mom I'm going to be in the UFC.
Yeah, see, you manifested that. Yeah. I try to tell people how important self-talk is. If you're constantly, like, you'll see people that are they're clumsy or whatever. Oh, you dumb fuck, They're always beating themselves up everywhere they go, and they're more and more clumsy as they progress. They're manifesting those things that happen. If you want to win, if you want to overcome anything, you have to keep telling yourself, "I can do this." It's not you have to speak it into existence.
I'm a very firm believer in positive thinking. So, like, I know a lot of fighters, for instance, because that's what I'm most comfortable with is fighting. A lot of guys will think of themselves in bad positions in the fight. And I'm like, I can't do it. I'll make myself go crazy because, like, in my head, when I visualize that fight, I'm never in a bad position. I'm never on my back. I'm never getting punched. I'm the one doing it. Mm-hmm. And I think people that think this way of, like, man, I could get stuck under this guy. I could get trapped. I could get my arm stuck in something. Like, they're almost telling themselves it's going to happen.
Yeah, they're man. Yep.
I just can't do it.
My first 2 pro fights, I never thought at all about what the other guy is going to do. I just went in and steamrolled him. Mm-hmm. My third fight was at Fight Fest, and it was for Hoist Gracie. It was in an arena, like 4,500 people. The whole time I was scared shitless. Yeah. This guy, I could go out here and get hurt. All these people are watching, and I went out there and just got my ass kicked. When I didn't think about what that person was doing and only thought about what I was doing, that's when I performed well.
Because you had no fear. I feel like there's a little bit of fear that...
You plant a seed. Yeah. I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Oh, go for it.
I'm a big believer in that.
Speak amongst yourselves. I'm going to manifest.
I don't remember how to talk to Mark by myself.
This turned into a very different conversation. I like it, though.
Yeah. I knew it would. I had to get out of the MMA shit out of the way, though.
About how much time we got left?
Whatever time you want.
All right.
So we're done.
Like you just said, they'd kill Jesus again. Do you think if someone came, Jesus per se, one person, came today, they wouldn't do the same thing to him? I think they would.
I don't know if
crucify him again.
I don't think they would crucify him. I think there'd be too many people that would think that was terrible just to kill somebody just because he's saying something. But I think if Jesus came back today, you know what I mean, and said, "Hey, I'm Jesus," and was like trying, and essentially
this is what I really meant.
Yeah, I think people just wouldn't believe him.
Put him in a
They just think he's a
There'd
crazy
be,
person.
He'd be like on Zoloft in about 3 minutes. Here you go.
Jesus couldn't happen today. Even if somebody was born and like was doing like crazy stuff from birth and was claiming to be, the reincarnation of Jesus or something, I think people would still call bullshit.
Yeah, black magic.
Yeah, or something like.
Yeah,
like James. You know who James Randi is? He's like a guy that he's always, to this day, he has $1 million. He put $1 million out there for anybody to show him actual proof of real psychic ability. And to this day, he's always been able to debunk it. So, like, I think people like him would immediately go out there and try to call his bullshit. And even if they couldn't, they would still, like, deny it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be deniers, no matter what. And like,
there was back then, too, though.
Yeah, well, no, exactly. That's what killed. But I don't think nowadays people could get away with crucifying someone.
Right. Yeah, not literal. Probably not.
Yeah, just they'd crucify them. They'd defame them, essentially.
My theory is the reason they kill the mystics is because they're giving away the game. If everyone says, "Yeah, Jesus is right. We are all sons of God," what would we have done? What are we going to do? Just lay around and it's just going to be an orgy all the time, or we're going to sit and pray and meditate? Like, we wouldn't create all the things that we've created since then.
Yeah.
So when someone comes out like that, you're going to ruin the game. It's
like eliminate them.
Yeah, it's like telling a kid that sorry, spoiler alert, telling a kid Santa Claus isn't real.
Right.
He's giving away the game. You don't want to tell everybody.
Yeah, and then your kid's that asshole kid that lets everybody know it's cool.
Yeah, he's the one whispering in the back. It's all a farce.
Yeah, like they're lying to us.
I think there's a lot of people out there that think though that like the whole God and Jesus thing is just a big Santa Claus thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like my cousin's one of them. He's like, yeah, Santa Claus isn't real. Why? What makes me believe that this guy is real?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, dude, there's a whole bunch of shit out there to tell you that it is real.
And that could very well be the case that it's not real, but it could very well be that it is. Like, there's just as much to back up that it's real as there isn't to back up that it's real.
What is real? That's the thing. Like, all right, so we're talking Santa Claus, religion, God. Think of the Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz, there was a guy behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. What was the message? Once they realized the guy was behind the curtain and it was all a show, what was the message?
He was just a regular guy. That's how I took it.
Well, everyone went to Oz because they had something that they were missing.
Yeah.
The message was they had it all the time.
Yeah, they had it all along.
Yeah, he always had. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's basically what the Wizard of Oz ties it. It's not something in the sky. It's right here. The divine spark is within us. We've had it all along.
Well, I'll never look at that movie the same way.
Really, when he comes down to it, like there's a rap group called Jedi Mind Tricks, and they once said, and I don't know if this is from a movie or what, but they repeated it a lot, and it says you don't got to go to church to get to know your God, and makes total sense. Like it, and then basically what that says to me is like spirituality is something that's personal. Like it has nothing to do with you, and nothing to do with you. Like it's whatever it is to you. So like your beliefs are your beliefs, and nobody should have any say. Like you can talk to people about it, but like when it comes down to it, you're gonna believe what you're gonna believe, and you're gonna believe it for your own reasons, and no one is gonna change that really, unless you decide that they're gonna change that.
Right. You let them.
Yeah. So
the Bhagavad Gita, which is a Hindu book, it's the Song of God. It says no matter who they worship, they're all worshiping me. He wasn't a vengeful God or a jealous God. The Hindu God says, let them worship whoever they want. It's me. It's all me.
Man, wow, he's even saying that. They're like, look, it's all the same.
Yeah.
Like right there. It's in the word.